Okay, it shows I'm live, and it says that the default speaker has changed. Golly, I sure hope that's not as bad going out as what my monitor over here is. That is horrible. That's like in 144p. I don't understand that. Much better now that I've switched it. No worries, Jeff. No worries whatsoever, my friend. Take your time. I'm sure we'll be here for a while anyway. Alex, good to see you again. I hope things are well with you. I did not send out an email for the Zoom. I want to do a test to see if yesterday's credentials are good or not. I honestly don't know. But I have got Zoom started. And if anyone joins, then we'll know the credentials are good. And that'll cut down on a big headache. If they don't, I'll get them sent out and we'll get together and talk about whatever we want to talk about. So, good to see Jeff said he'll be with us shortly. I appreciate that. Good to see Alex. Waiting on Tony to say hi. If Tony's still around, it's only 8:30 out in California, so probably out getting his nightly walk on the beach. Alex is saying that no, the credentials do not work. Well, that is not good. So let me take care of that. And there we go. Let me go up here and copy the link and jump over here and go into compose, and I'm going to send it to myself. I need to get with BH Ringer, and I probably need to get with someone else, or anyone for that matter, and figure out how to do a group thing so that I do not have to do this every time. I can just click on the group and it'll be good to go. Trying to think. I got Blackwatch, BH Ringer, Gary, Darren, Alex, Jeff, Robert. Chris probably won't join us, but I'll send one out to Chris. Yeah, Alex. I know you meant Zoom. I got it. I understood. Alright, I just sent out the email, so make sure you check your emails. Chris Garrett replied, okay, that was from earlier, we already discussed that. Let me go back over here, let me go with my hotkey. I learned something today about hotkeys actually. Pretty interesting, I thought. Maybe I can go over that a little bit. Oh, that looks terrible too. Gee whiz. My IU comes through though. I like this t-shirt. It's got IU and Green Bay logos kind of meshed together, and I bought it for the IU logo, Indiana University. Green Bay's okay. They're a pretty consistent football team. Alex has joined us, so the email worked. We got him on audio, no audio, he's muted, and his camera is off, and that's fine. I understand that. Wants to do another group. Click on the email. Check your email. Blackwatch is joining us in the chat room on YouTube. Hey, Alex.
Hello.
Oh, there you go. I can barely hear you. I don't know how the audio's sounding over on YouTube because I've got it muted. Hopefully it's okay. I've got the headphones on for Zoom, and hopefully
It's fine.
are people able to hear the Zoom through the YouTube stream? I'm not sure how I could check that actually. Hopefully a couple other people will be joining us there. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? I didn't change my name. I'm still Robert. Hold on. There now.
Yes, you can hear it through the YouTube.
Okay, cool. Because I honestly never even changed any settings on that. I just left it as it was. Alright, so what's shaking in your neck of the woods?
I'm just getting ready for a get-together tomorrow. I've been in the kitchen all day making food.
How's the job hunting going?
It's going about the same. I've applied for a few more jobs. I'm trying to look at remote jobs since I'm having a hard time finding an actual job
I'm glad you said
around
that,
here
because
in
I
the
was
city.
gonna suggest to you, why don't you reach out to some companies about remote work from home? Okay, Alex, see, I think Blackwatch is saying turn your knob all the way up. They can't hear you. I can hear you on here. I don't know about the stream because I'm not monitoring it. But you're good on Zoom as far as I go. But yeah, that's a good idea to think about doing stuff from remote, remotely from home.
My only concern with doing it remote is, of course, if my internet ever goes out for an extended period of time, and not having a backup, a, a good backup.
Right. So let me ask this question: how often does your internet go out?
Um, we've had the same company for 20 years, and so we've had our our problems with them. But um, for the past year and a half or so, ever since COVID, pretty much it's pretty much been rock solid.
Well, that's
Except for
good.
when the only time we lose it, pretty much, is when the power goes off.
Okay, Blackwatch is saying your audio is good now, so whatever adjustment you made, that's good. That's good. Now,
I didn't I didn't make no adjustments. I guess I was just talking too quiet. But if I need to
oh
turn if I need to turn up my microphone,
no,
the
he says you're
sensitivity
good.
on.
He says you're good. So, next question, and I'm not playing 20 questions with you. I'm just honestly curious. Do you have more than one internet provider in your area?
For hardwired internet, no, only one.
Only one.
If I have to use a backup, it would probably be if I have to use a backup right now, it would be AT&T through my cell phone through my cell phone hotspot.
Hotspot. Oh man, I'm
But
not sure.
I have a free phone plan.
Uh
The
huh.
phone I pay for myself, but I'm on the free phone plan. And right now, because of the COVID, they're giving everybody unlimited text, unlimited data, and with hotspot and unlimited calls. If I get a job and get money, I'll lose that. I'll lose that free service if I get a job that pays enough money. So
That
I would
right.
have to buy my own plan, which would mean I would have to spend money
Sure.
for
Sure. I
data.
guess the immediate question that comes to my mind is how long would it take them to find out you have a job unless you tell them, right?
Um, whenever I make enough money that my Social Security check stops coming in.
Oh, okay. Do you happen to know, and again, if it's too personal, let me know. Do you happen to know what that dollar amount is?
700.
700
That's
a month?
that's the max.
Wow. So if you make over X amount, if you make $701, you're going to lose your disability check?
Correct.
Man, that's horrible. I thought mine was bad. That's worse than mine. Well, that's terrible to know, but I also know you want to work, so that's kind of a fine line you're going to have to juggle on what you want to do. Um, and it's good you're thinking about remote work. What's the next closest big town to you? Little Rock?
The next closest town to me that I would be able to get work in is Little Rock, but my mom don't like the idea really of driving 45 minutes, but she will as long as my transportation, as long as I can take the public transportation to work, and she can come and pick me up,
Sure.
because they won't pick me up. They won't pick anybody up beyond 4 if you're paying for it.
Okay. Um, Again, though, if you do it remotely, can you find a company that you can remotely work out of from Sheridan and remotely work in the Little Rock area? Is that possible?
I don't understand your question.
So you mentioned that you're looking for remote work, right? So
Right.
you're in Sheridan, and Little Rock's however many miles away it is. Is there any chance you could work for a company from Sheridan, but the company's physically in Little Rock?
Possibly.
Okay. The other thing you might want to consider, and again, this is just ideas. I could be completely off base on this. I know you have an interest in computers. I know you went to college for computers. I know you have a degree with something with computers. Have you ever thought about doing something similar to what Doug is doing and offering remote help over the internet in the same um, what's the word I'm looking for? Genre or the same type of arena that he's doing? Has that ever
No,
entered your mind?
I've never thought about that, but now that you mention it, I might like do exactly. I could do exactly what he's doing. Like if somebody needs free help with Zoom, as
Right.
long as I can get them within 45 minutes, I can use the free, or I might consider paying it.
Right. You could do the 40. It's 40 minutes, and you could do that. Or if you get like one or two or three or four people, and it looks like it's going to be longer, like you said, just buy the cheapest license on the month-to-month basis. Um, and who knows? Maybe you could get
Because
some
we
assistance.
know that Zoom does seem to be the easiest application of them all. Plus, I think you can do Zoom through a web browser. So even if you can't, even if somebody can install Zoom, I think you can.
Sure, you can, and yeah, you're right. The thing that on the things that we tested out, Facebook is not bad, but it's on Facebook, and not everybody's comfortable with Facebook. The Jitsi or Jitsi, however you want to pronounce it, that was pretty good, but there was just little things I didn't like. Was it that one that had the ability to where you could turn everybody else off?
Correct. Correct. It
That
wasn't just me. That applies to anybody that connects. That
that's
wasn't just
yeah, that is strikes 1 through 27 right there in my mind. I wouldn't want to be connected to
Matt.
somebody and I make someone mad and they all of a sudden, well, Ken's gone. I wouldn't
Now
like that.
let me add something to that, Ken. We were using their server. We were using their public server on the jujitsu.com.
Okay.
With that software, you can host your own. You can host your own Jitsi server. So I could put it on a server in Dallas, like what I'm doing with my dad's website.
Okay.
And then when I do that way, and I install it from scratch, I could probably figure out a way to harden down the security and require authentication in such a way that nobody would be able to do anything like that.
Okay.
But
Okay. That's good. That's good that you've thought about this. But you're right. I think Zoom is the most. I think it's not only easy.
but again, Zoom is easier because it's just one click. And you don't have to think about any of that.
No. It's just like one click and you're done. The other thing is on the Jiu-Jitsu, or however you say it, is do they have a limit on the free stuff? And then if you exceed that, then you have to pay? Because I honestly didn't look into it that much.
They have a business plan, but it's nothing that on the page we were looking at the other day when you said that you can when you were talking about how you can control people's computers.
Right.
I've using that. I didn't find that feature, but as far as I know, for what I'd be using it for, or what you need it for, it wouldn't cost anything.
Okay. Yeah, it's just some thoughts. I know being in a little town that you're in, you said your population is about 4,000-ish, roughly.
Yes.
Okay. The bigger the other thing before I forget, the more resumes you can get out, the better off.
Yes, I probably apply. Haven't been counting, but I've probably applied for 100 jobs now because I've been applying for jobs since April.
Good.
And it's almost Good. December now. So.
Yeah. Don't be shocked if that number gets into the thousands. Honestly.
I'm not keeping track.
But it only takes that one to answer. Once you get started, that's where the remote work, like what Doug does. Once you get started, and you're good at it, and people recommend you, people say, like with Doug, word of mouth, word of whatever.
People that are around here, I put myself on Facebook, and people that are around here locally, Hot Springs, Little Rock,
right.
Stuff like that.
Right.
People that I've done work for on their computers, and people that I've made DVDs and CDs for, they seem to
be happy.
They seem to be happy.
Good.
Even I've installed Linux on several people's computers for them, and for the school and for this alcohol center and all this, we did it at school. Installed Linux on 10 or 15 computers for them, and haven't had only had one problem, and that's because I did the office manager's computer or whatever her title is in the front office, and had to connect remote and reconnect her printer.
Okay. So, again, if it's too personal, no worries. If you don't want to answer, that's fine. Did you get paid to do this, or was this pro
No,
bono type work?
this was something we did as a group at the school, as
Okay.
part of
Okay.
school, but I was the one that came up with the idea to install Linux because those computers were like old Dell Optiplexes with only 4 gigs of RAM and a regular hard drive,
Okay.
and they had a Windows 7 loaded on them, and I wasn't about to give those people Windows 7 regardless of what they were using them for.
Right. Right. Okay. No, that's good. I just wondered if, it's great that you came up with that idea. So you've already got that mentality going. Now the next step is to take the one step further and not only do that, but, and I know this will sound ridiculous, and this is where Doug could probably help you out. $10 an hour, and if they're on a retainer, and you make $10 an hour, you're making more than you're making now, because right now you're making $0 an hour.
Well, right now I don't charge per the hour. If somebody wants me to work on their computer, I'll say, okay, this is, if I figure out what their issue is and I know what the issue is before they bring me the computer, like it needs a hard drive,
Right.
I'll say, you bring me the hard drive. SSD costs $50.
Right.
And then you pay me $100 to put it in, install the software, get everything working.
Okay.
And that's my.
So you've thought through this a little bit. That's good. That's good. Do you do free diagnosis, or do you charge people to troubleshoot and diagnose problems?
I mean, if they bring me their computer, I'm going to charge.
Okay.
It's like for something for the church or something.
Well, that's good.
If some random person messages me on Facebook or whatever, sees my post on Facebook and wants me, physically brings me their computer,
right,
I'll charge them. But if not, if they just want an answer over the messenger or over the phone, I won't charge them. And one guy actually messaged me back after I gave him, support over the phone for his Bluetooth speaker or whatever, and he actually wanted to give me money.
Oh, that's good.
So in return, I had an extra Bluetooth speaker because the one he had wasn't compatible with his iPhone or whatever. So I just gave him the Bluetooth speaker.
Good. Do you have PayPal account?
I don't do any kind of like PayPal, Cash App. I had somebody ask. I sold my mom's printer to somebody off of Facebook. Her old printer that we didn't need
right.
But it's still perfectly good, And the person messaged me while we was going out to eat the other day, asked me if I accepted Cash App, and I was like, no. And I'm out to eat, so you need to give me an hour before.
So you advertised on Facebook Marketplace?
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I posted. We got a whole bunch of. I'm on just about every Facebook group in Arkansas now. And so
right. Those are good. Some of them can be good.
And so I posted on there, and sometimes publicly on my page, but it's easier to just post on all these groups where a lot of people are.
Yeah, PayPal's kind of nice. I've had it for a good number of years. I haven't used it in a good number of years. I've just recently started using it again. And as long as I'm not charged from PayPal, I'm okay with it. It's just
I know people that use PayPal. I mean, people that receive money off of PayPal, but I mean,
my little brother swears by it. I mean, it's the best thing since sliced bread. And I guess
that's what Kerry does with his, because they don't take a chunk.
Well, see, there's a work. Let me back up. There used to be a workaround around that. They used to have a thing that was called, I think, friends and family, and as long as it was friends and family, there was no. If I send you $50, you got $50. They didn't take out the 3% or whatever it is, and I honestly don't know if they still do that or not. Because when I was using it, when I would pay some businesses for what they were doing, like our taxes, we used we didn't use the business account, we used their personal friend's account so that there was no money taken out of it. So what time do the festivities kick off tomorrow?
Oh, I figure, my nephews and my sister are gonna be here. They're coming from Tennessee, which they're about 4 hours from here, so they're probably gonna be here, try to be here about 8, 9 o'clock, something
Oh,
like that.
that's
And then
early.
everybody else is gonna be here about 10:30, 11. So I figured, 10 o'clock when everybody's gonna show up, and then about 2 or 3 o'clock everybody's gonna be gone probably.
Right. Let me check something real quick.
So,
Use my
so,
hotkey.
so Doug is starting. Doug will have his stream on tomorrow at 1. I won't be able to join right at 1, but I'll try to join after since he's a little 2 or 3.
Yeah, I think I was one of the first people to comment. I commented at 4:40 run right before I laid down. I'm just going to leave it running all night. He says it's in 14 hours, so that'll roughly be, if it's going to be 1 o'clock his time, it'll be 3 o'clock my time, I think. Which that's fine. That works out really good. But I wanted to check over here. Let's make sure. So you got the email. The email works.
No, I
wait a
said 1 o'clock because that's 1 o'clock our time.
Oh, 1 o'clock our time.
That'd be 11 o'clock his time.
Oh, okay. Okay. I don't think these went out properly. Maybe they did. I don't know. We'll see. All right, let me jump back over here. Got to do that. Good. I mean, it sounds like you've given us some thought. It sounds like you've got everything working in the right direction.
Here.
No, that's yours.
Oh, huh?
That's yours.
You're not going to eat that?
No, you can have it. That's yours.
Are you sure?
I'm sure. Thank you.
But
Good. I really hope that you can get something going. What was your degree from school in?
maybe it's Associate of Applied Sciences and Network Management, networking, which is kind of all the classes I took kind of are bits and pieces of pretty much everything.
So you understood that mess Robert showed. Remember Robert showing that one thing he showed last night? You understood all that?
No, not all of it, but I understood, what little bit I saw. He didn't show it good enough that I could actually, clearly.
Oh, sure.
see.
Yeah, well, he can't, but let's put it this way. If you were there and I were there and they said, we're going to give the first one that gets this done a chunk of change, I'm never going to get that change because that's way above my pay grade.
But one of the IT guys at the college sent me a text message just the other day and told me that the new instructor they got since my old one left and I left has torn down everything we did. So I'm glad I recorded that video and still have the.
I see Gary's joined us in the Zoom. Good evening, Gary.
Good evening, sir.
How are you?
Sir? Peachy and King.
Good to hear. Alex and I have just been talking about his little town, and he is already thinking about reaching out to do some remote work. He's thinking about applying in Little Rock. He's really given a lot of good thought and has some good ideas on this. If you want to DVR the stream, you can see it in there, I'm sure. So,
Where's that, or what do we?
well, just general talk about how his job search is going and how many resumes he sent out, and has he thought about doing remote work. Word of mouth get going. He's advertising on Facebook and Marketplace and a couple groups, if I understood him correctly. It's horrible. More than a couple. Hey, I'm all for it. That's good. Those are great ideas. I'm sorry to hear that your work that you put in at your school got destroyed.
I am too.
Maybe one day.
Honestly, I was expecting that.
Well, whenever the new regime comes in, things do tend to change. It's just the way it goes. Maybe one day you'll get a call from the school and they'll want you to come back as an instructor. Would that be something you?
Well, I was hoping, maybe not me, but I was hoping that something may come along, something may happen, and they may give my former instructor a call back and ask him to come back.
Sure.
I doubt, but it's
Sure.
still a possibility.
Yeah, just get your foot in the door and get started. It's about all it's going to take. So what's up in Gary's world tonight?
Not much.
What's your
Where'd
temperature?
you like watch that?
What's your temperature today? there tonight?
Right now it's 32.
Oh, you're, I think, warmer than we are.
It's cold.
Nope, we got you by 1 degree.
My wife has the fan open in the fan on open in the bedroom.
How
Yeah,
cold is it there?
I've got the fan running here, the little fan running on the floor, and she's got the heater set to 97 degrees. But she grew up in a country where it gets below 80, they put on fur coats because they're cold, and I understand that. Blackwatch is listening on the YouTube. I think I sent out the link properly. I'm not sure. We did find out, Alex said that the old ones will not work. That's why I initially didn't send them out. I wanted to see if they worked. Like
No,
Dutch
when
do.
when you click on it, it says invalid.
Okay. Well, no big deal. I've got to figure out how to go into my email and make a group of people that I just click on that one group and it sends them out. You know, that's just my next plan to do. So
Google is your friend.
yeah, it is. Believe me.
Jeff likes Google.
I think Google is good overall, but Google has kind of taken away, well, the internet overall has taken away the way we research things and figure things out.
Totally agree.
I mean, back when we were in school, we had to go to the library and get out the old Encyclopedia Britannica and, you know, go that route.
Or the old Funkin' Wagnalls.
yeah, exactly. So, Alex, we apologize if we talk about things that are old and ancient and Greek to you, but that's the way it was.
And then you had to
That's
use a book.
fine.
Do I, Gary?
You had to use the book, and then you had to, I can't even think what it was called so long ago. But basically, you had to tell what page, what paragraph.
Oh yeah.
No.
Do you remember some of the reports you had to do the footnotes and the other
Thank
things?
you.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Where now it's Wikipedia.
Blackwatch has double parked his tricycle. Go unpark that. Go put it in the garage.
I used physical books when I was in like elementary school and middle school. Some in the library. You know, we'd go to the library like once or twice a week. And
Right.
Have, you know.
When did the use of computers become prevalent in your school history?
What's
Well,
the library?
because I've got a disability. The school has pretty much always provided a computer. The public school, when I was in, for me to at least type on, when I was in like elementary school, I was using a Windows. I can't remember if it was 95 or 98, one of the two to write papers on.
Okay.
And set them to floppy disk and, you know, transferring
Sure.
stuff that away before flash drives.
What were you saying, Gary?
What's the library?
Yeah. What's what a library? What is that?
Exactly.
Well, our first day in Charleston, we had to go to the county library because obviously we didn't have a phone and we needed the internet to set some things up, and that was kind of fun. And then COVID hit and that closed that down, but by then we were established and up and running. It's terrible Alex doesn't have another. We talked about his internet provider, and he doesn't have but one provider in his little city, and he could use AT&T as a hotspot, but I don't know how well that would go. But then again, I'm not the spokesman for AT&T, so I'll let that sit right there.
On a good day or whatever, when AT&T, I get about 20 megs down and probably about 15 up on AT&T.
I can't believe that because I have in Kentucky an area where there's just nothing, nowhere, but I get good internet.
But I only have a 4. My phone is great, but I only have a 4G phone, LTE phone. So no 5G for me, but I really don't need it.
Yeah, we were told when we upgraded in March of 2020 that the phone I have now was 5G. And the more I think about it, they didn't come right out and say it's 5G. They said it was 5G compatible, and it had some kind of a I can't remember the exact verbiage, but it would emulate 5G is what it would do, but it's not 5G. And this phone, I have the iPhone 11. It's horrible. I literally could be standing underneath the tower and I get 1 bar on my signal.
I believe they call that emulated 5G, 5GE. It's just a more advanced version of 4G.
Well, it's more advanced. It doesn't work on my phone. And AT&T's first resolution was the SIM card was bad, so they sent me a new SIM card, and it didn't resolve the problem. So,
Well, my mom got a new phone, and AT&T sent a tech out to apparently, set up the phone and all that.
mm-hmm.
But all he did was use a Samsung Smart Switch app to transfer her data. But he didn't program the SIM. It come with a SIM card, but he didn't program the SIM card. So when he left, I said, just take your SIM card out of your old phone and put it in your new phone, and it worked like a charm.
Yeah, Gary, what's your provider, if you don't mind me asking?
Actually, I don't know. It's Sprint. I think it's T-Mobile now.
Yeah, Sprint was bought by T-Mobile, T-Mobile bought Sprint. That's correct. Yes, That's who my brother
well, my phone is actually an unlocked phone, so I have the option of using AT&T or T-Mobile. I have a T-Mobile SIM card, so if I want to switch over, all I have to do is call
my sister has
provider.
Verizon, and she swears they're the best thing on the planet, and I think they're a little pricey myself. It's just Lorna and I. We don't have to have anybody else. There's Jeff joining us.
Or a little bit late, but finally here.
His camera's broken or covered or something.
Covered.
Okay, cool. There you go.
Yeah, I normally put something over it when I'm not actively using it.
Sure. I understand that. How are you tonight?
Pretty good. Just been doing a lot of chores and whatever. So managed to go to the dentist and get a haircut today.
You got a haircut at the dentist? I need to know that dentist's name.
No.
Thank you. I'll be here all week.
Not anymore.
Yeah, really. Everybody goes click, click, click. Done with that guy.
Oh, something's not coming through on YouTube.
I got the volume turned down. I don't know how the audio is.
Got my audio on YouTube blocked.
That is always good. Well, Alex and I were talking earlier before everyone joined about his area and the internet and his thinking, not his thinking, that's the wrong verbiage. What he's done as far as looking for a job, and believe me, I believe he's on the right path. I really do. And Alex, another thing I might say, and this is just me, okay? Don't be afraid to reach out to someone for help. We as men tend to not want to do that because we think we know everything. And believe me, we don't. And there's nothing wrong with saying, Jeff, I understand you do this. I need your help. Of course, Jeff's going to tell me to go jump in the lake, but still, reach out. Don't be afraid to do that.
I don't think we know anything. At least that's what my wife says.
Well, that's a whole different subject. That can be tomorrow night's chat. that'll be tomorrow night's chat, not on YouTube live streaming.
No, I was just thinking, when you get towards the end of your career, you run into different kinds of problems. Thing I ran into was I never wanted to be in management. I was offered a chance to get into management about 5 years in my career. Mm-hmm. And the situation came about because a guy that had been leading the group I'd been working with got fed up with it and just left the company altogether.
That is weird.
Well, and there were 3 of us that had been working with him. They came to all 3 of us sort of in order. I was the least senior, so I was the last one asked. But the guy you would have had to report to was so bad that nobody wanted it.
Okay, so that brings me to think of something from the 70s. How bad was he?
And once I turned that down, the the first place I worked never really offered me anything again after that, and I was
Right.
okay with that because one of the things I didn't want to get into was having to evaluate people for raises and promotions and all
Sure.
that sort of
Sure.
stuff.
Gary.
And so what happened in the end, after working through, I think, 3 different companies eventually, I got to the point where, as a strictly technical person, I was senior enough and I cost so damn much money that it was hard to find work for me.
Right.
And so in the end, I just ended up retiring. Fortunately, I'd been well paid and have good Social Security and a little bit of a pension from one job, but it's just a different perspective than when you're starting out, and a lot of it has to do with being in the right place at the right time.
Right.
When I first started looking for work, I was fortunate to get a lot of interviews, and there were lots of positions open for what I was doing. And I had my choice of about 5 or 6 jobs.
And your first professional job, Jeff, how many
I've worked,
resumes?
what's that?
I was going to say, how many resumes do you think you sent out?
I'm trying to think.
Ballpark, of course.
10.
Okay, so a follow-up caveat question to that: what year was that?
1978.
Not to insinuate you're old, but you know.
Well, I am old, but that's all right. 1978.
Okay.
And
Laugh as we were all old.
and I had a graduate degree in nuclear engineering. But on the other hand, I knew people that had finished a couple or 3 years earlier than me, a lot of whom I considered to be better qualified than I was, sent out tons and tons and tons of resumes and got not a single job offer. And it was because of what was available at the different times. I was lucky to finish up at a time when there were jobs available. So it's just some of us luck of the draw.
Yeah.
But your qualification, your credentials sound very good too.
What's that?
Your credentials sounded very good.
Right.
Well,
right.
I think I had decent credentials. There were people with better credentials, but nonetheless, I'm relatively satisfied with what I did. The last job I had was the worst job I ever had, but that's another story.
I remember when they shut down the distribution center. It was actually in Chula Vista, but it was called San Diego. And I started sending out resumes, and I got an interview here and there. And I found it really funny that, well, we'd really like to hire you, but you're overqualified. And I'm thinking, there is no way in hell I'm overqualified for this job. I just ran a little distribution center. But I did get that quite often. That's when I decided to go into nursing, because we're always going to need nurses.
Yep. Then the other thing I ran into in recent years, after I left my last job, I did have 1 or 2 serious interviews for other stuff, but a lot of little, what I would call consulting companies. And I had one just a few weeks ago call me up and ask for my resume. So they're bidding on government projects. I worked for government contractors or subcontractors my whole career.
Right.
That's just what I was in.
Was it there locally in Vegas, or was it out of state?
No, it was out of state.
Okay. The reason I ask is my youngest son works for a company. They're basically, he gets mad at me, but I always put it in terms I can understand. They're a staffing agency, but they're a staffing agency for the big boys. Right. And he gets mad at me for saying that.
Anyway, this one I think was semi-legitimate. They wanted people with certain experience, and they just, but they were up front. They were submitting a proposal for a government job.
Right. So something that
And
just,
if you go after one of those unsolicited, you have about a 5% chance of getting it. That's just kind of what it is. If you have connections with the agency that's asking for bids, then the odds are a lot higher.
Right. Right.
But when I was in South Carolina before I moved back out here, I had lots of little consulting companies ask for my resume. And then sometimes you would call them later to see what happened. They wouldn't even answer my phone calls or emails. And what it is, they would get resumes from people with a lot of experience, submit those with the proposal. And if they got the bid, then they would go out and hire somebody with only 3 or 4 years experience that cost a lot less.
Right.
Makes them more money.
Sure. Sure.
And that's just kind of the way things work sometimes.
Yeah. Something that popped
Anyway,
in my
this is
head.
kind of all off the subject
Oh, no,
of
you're-
helping Alex.
You're fine. But Alex had mentioned a couple days ago, I believe, was working from home. I noticed when I was looking into that, there were a lot of companies that wanted you to put up a lot of money up front to work from home, which I never thought that was right. What is you guys' feelings on that?
What do you mean?
I guess if they want you to provide anything more than a reasonable computer,
And internet connection, Jeff, or just computer?
depends what type of internet connection. If they want you to have a very high speed one, like if you need to get a business account with your ISP, I would hope they would be willing to pony up a little money for something like that. The other thing that affects it, and I've done both kinds of work, is are you going to be a regular employee or are you going to be a contract employee with no benefits?
Good question.
What we call it the difference between having a W-2 and a Form 1099.
Right. Right.
If you're a 1099 employee, the company doesn't pay the regular company's portion of your Social Security taxes. You have to pay both sides of it.
Really?
Yes,
Ooh.
since you're an independent contractor.
Actually, I think you only pay 3/4 of it altogether. I might be wrong.
Well, no, you pay the whole thing. I've done that, not recently,
thing?
but about 10 years
Okay.
ago, I was doing that.
I believe you.
And depending on your experience and how bad they want you, you generally try to negotiate, say, a higher hourly rate if you're paying all that stuff yourself.
Right.
And my rule of thumb was I want 15% more if I'm going to be a 1099 employee. And
the
that's
jobs I've
not
been
just
looking
to
offer
cover what
benefits.
you got to pay in Social Security tax, because you're getting more money, you're actually going to pay more in income
Sure.
tax.
Sure.
What you're trying to do is end up with at least the same net amount.
Right.
Now, with less experience, you have less leverage to negotiate stuff like that.
Alex, what were you going to say?
I'm just gonna say all the jobs that I've been looking at are offering benefits.
Oh, good.
Well, certainly when you're starting out, that's the best kind of a deal. If you can get something with health insurance, and particularly, that's good. I will give one piece of advice here, and it depends on your own financial situation, but if the company has a 401k plan in which they give you a match, take it. That's free money.
Yep.
Yeah.
Most are 6%.
Match up to 6%, Gary?
No, most are 6 because that's the Fed law.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So give you a couple hours.
And depending upon what it is, they may match a certain fraction of what you contribute up to 6% or something like that.
Correct. And there's a new one. I don't know if you're familiar with it. It's called flex spending. You can take up to $2,000 off your gross income and use that for paying your medical bills. Or
Right. The last place I worked at, I call it a health savings account, HSA. I don't know
Yeah,
what.
I've heard of those.
which
And
actually pays
a
off.
good. The nice thing about some of those is that the money carries over from year to year.
Yep.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
we have that, and most people don't know this, but that'll even cover aspirin or glasses. My wife and I both wear glasses,
right.
and That's after before taxes. So in other words, you save your tax money basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah,
Okay.
both of us were taxed.
So
Glasses.
you guys want to see what I discovered today?
Sure.
I'll do.
Always.
Should I do it through the YouTube stream or do it through screen sharing? Which do you think's easiest?
Depends on what it is.
It's on
Whatever's easier for you.
I either
Wanna
or
put
is
it
good
out.
for me. It's on Davinci
What I mean is, if
Resolve.
you want to put it out on YouTube or not.
Oh yeah, that's fine. I can open up a new project. In fact, I'll do that. I'll start the globe.
Oh, how's your scrolling thing coming? Have you got the thing to go round and round yet? Or
No, I
still
did make
working
some.
on it?
I did make progress on it earlier tonight, and I spoke with Gary about it earlier tonight. I actually got it to go picture, scroll, picture, text, and then I actually got it to go picture, text, picture, scroll, and the text would go over here, and then it would go over here, and then it was a mess.
Well,
I'm getting
just
there.
amazed that you're making progress as fast as you are. I look at that and say,
Now, I
Actually,
could show
something
you.
like-
Go ahead, Gary. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I was just saying, especially on something like Davinci. Davinci is very robust, but looks awful hard. You know, steep learning curve.
Very steep. Well, go check out Blender. You want to talk about a steep learning curve? Man,
haven't tried it myself. I've known a couple of folks who've used Blender.
Wasn't
Yeah.
that open source?
it is, and Blender is starting. A lot of the Davinci Resolve people I watch are starting to use Blender, and they're incorporating it into Davinci Resolve.
Now, isn't Resolve mostly about taking existing
Yes.
photos and other things
Yes.
and combining them into a video stream of some sort?
Yes, and it primarily is not still pictures or static pictures like I'm using. It's more videos. And
Right.
somewhere down the road, I plan on doing it. All right, I'm going to go ahead and bring this up,
Yeah.
and got to remember my hotkeys.
Hey Ken, by the way, you're still not showing up on my website as a.
Am I still showing up in West Virginia?
It's not showing any Illinois.
Well, I haven't been there in a day or two, so maybe I need to do that. All right, here is Davinci Resolve, and there's nothing here, and I'm just going to grab a picture from somewhere. You know what? I'll pick on myself. I'll use this one, I guess. Where did I go? Great, I'm lost. Let's try that again. Media pool. Bring this down to here we go. So, go ahead, Alex.
I was just gonna say, I found that my biggest problem with a lot of these jobs I've been applying for, a lot of these on-site jobs that I've been trying to apply for in Little Rock, is that probably 90% of them say must provide reliable transportation to be able to go to and from customer sites.
Right.
So you wouldn't be working in one spot. And because I rely on public transportation that needs 48 hours advance notice, I wouldn't be able to just leave the
Right.
office.
See, that's another reason why I was talking to you earlier about doing stuff remotely, because you don't need transportation to sit in your home and do remote work. It's just something to consider. But yeah, I can see where that would be very detrimental, that since you don't drive and you have to give them 48 hours notice, that would be an obstacle.
Well, something like
And they're not very dependable. So if I tell them they need to show up at like, I need to be at whatever work at 8 o'clock,
Mm-hmm.
it's a possibility that they might not show up here till 7:30, 7:45, and I'll be late or something. I've had that happen multiple times when I go to school. Like they would put me on a van with somebody going to Little Rock, take the person to Little Rock 45 minutes away from my house. So I'd have to go all the way to Little Rock and then go all the way back through down the interstate, all the way back to my college, and then I wouldn't get there till like 10:30 or whatever. And granted, I didn't have class until the afternoon, but if I was working that.
It sounds like the little company here in town. We don't have public transportation. We have some company. It's Coles County Citizens Transport or something. But I called them one time just to see, because she had to work and there was something with the transportation that got messed up. So I was curious as to what they would charge me to run over to the little town to the VA meeting I had and wait for the half hour I was going to be in there and bring me back. And the guy, I mean, he immediately said, "Oh, we don't do that. You'd have to reschedule."
Well, we have something like that up here, but it's run through the senior center with government money. So you call them and they'll do something that, I want to say 1 or 2 days, like Alice was saying. They'll say, we'll come and pick you up at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Yeah, but like he said, you're reliant upon them to get there, and if they don't show up until 10 minutes to go, and you got 45 miles to go, you're up the creek.
I've been going to the same, going to school for the same place, been using them for like 6, 7, 8 years now, and they're pretty much, I pretty much come to a conclusion. I can pretty much guarantee you one thing, that they're not consistent.
Yeah.
Well, ours won't go out of like one neighborhood each way around, so they don't go to.
The good thing about them, though, the good thing about ours is if I'm willing to pay them, they'll take me anywhere in the state.
Well, sure, at the right price.
One thing I would mention is that I have a soon-to-be ex-son-in-law who worked in IT for quite a while, and Kenworth is the last company he worked for. And surprisingly, they let him do a lot of work from home, especially last year during the pandemic. And they provided him a company laptop.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's what we do.
He was working on mainly servers and voice over IP phone systems, that sort of thing. But surprisingly, he was able to do quite a bit of work from home. And so just keep your ears open. You might be surprised what companies may have something like that. He did have to go into work some of the time, but it wasn't like he's got to go this place one day and this place another day. He just had to show up at the local headquarters here in Las Vegas of Kenworth. And strangely enough, until they had hired him, they did not have a resident IT guy. They had to bring in somebody from Salt Lake City. So a lot of the servers and stuff that he maintained locally had actually been maintained remotely from Salt Lake City by somebody else. They finally got enough equipment here that they needed somebody full time locally.
Okay, let me
and that would have been something I was surprised to hear that. So just you might be surprised at who might need somebody who can do remote work.
Yeah. So today when I was working on Gary's thing, I was recording it, and I'll get with him later to get his permission to post that later down the road. But I needed to do some work using shortcuts in Davinci, which I don't even need to go any further than this. So I can rename this first picture. You can bring it up here, and I can rename this by hitting the F2 button, and I can name it Cake if I wanted to. Well, since that's not one of my hotkeys, I'm going to name it Birthday Cake, right? So I get rid of that. I hit Shift. Well, first of all, I have to go to over here first. Every time I tried to change the name, OBS would change, because Elise starts with an A, so Shift A is my go to the world, and you'll notice when I put Shift A in here, the world came up on the YouTube stream. So if I go over here and it wasn't changing the name, I'm like, what in the world? And then I know when I played it back, I'm like, wait a minute, I'm trying to change the name. So if OBS is recording something, or I'm doing a live stream, I can't use my hotkeys, because if I go Shift B in 3 seconds, that's going to go back and show the birthday cake right there. That's just crazy. And
Because if OBS is recording something, it takes precedence over
the hotkeys, right? So I just found that to be kind of interesting. So if I go over here to this one, which is now me, and I want to change the name again, F2. Now, if you watch the YouTube stream, I'm going to change it to Senior Stout. So I hit Shift S. In 3 seconds, the globe's going to show up over there. 5 seconds, whatever, 10 seconds. Okay, today. Oh, wait a minute. S is not it's Shift A. So Shift A, we'll call it Senior something A. Now it'll change. And literally it took me forever to do that. I just thought that was interesting. Now I'm going to cancel this. I don't need it.
Is that just a video you found somewhere and put your name on it?
What's that? Oh, no. That's actually one of my friends from Glendale, Arizona was up staying with us, and we were doing some work outside in Vegas, and we were moving all of our rock, because everybody in Vegas doesn't have a lawn, they have rock, and I wanted the grass. And we were digging holes, literally, because the way we were doing it. And I jokingly said, one of these nights a Mexican's going to break into my house, he's going to get out of the house, and he's going to fall in the hole, and he's going to sue me because he broke his leg falling in the hole. We carried that on with, well, tell us what happened. Oh, I robbed Senior Stout, I jumped out the window, and I fell in the hole, and I broke my leg. And from that moment forward, I was known as Senior Stout. So he did that.
I'm talking about your globe with your...
That I got off the internet from Pixabay, I believe it was. I think that was on Pixabay.
Yeah, that was my question, where you got the globe.
Oh, okay, I misunderstood. I thought you were talking about Senior Stout. I believe that was Pixabay. It might have been Pixels, one of the two. I find these to be fascinating. Supposedly it's all free. I did get a ding on some music I got, so I stopped using the music. I haven't gotten anything on the pictures. You can go up here and search for what you want. I like Pixabay, I really do. I think that's where I got the coffee from. And you can always go in there. You can go to Google and you can put in coffee, hit enter, go to images. But I would be leery of doing that, because bbcgoodfood.com might send me a cease and desist order that I'm using their image, you know. Whereas the other one, I'm good to go. Nescafe, I could use it.
If you're putting images inside of like a Word document or a PowerPoint presentation or something, and search for the images through, use the online images option through PowerPoint or whatever you're using, there's an option for Creative Commons for like royalty-free images.
Yeah, I just go to the free ones. I haven't done it in a while, but that's what I do. I always work from home. Black Watch. It's funny. That's funny. I haven't seen B.H. Ringer. I might want to shoot him an email, make sure he's all right. But yeah, that's what I grab a lot of stuff off the internet. Pixabay's one. Pixels is good. And so do a lot of the creators. They don't use their own stuff. I see some things on Facebook I want every now and then, but I gotta be real careful with them. There's some good ones in here. I like that.
Oh, I know what I was getting ready to tell you today.
Okay.
Yeah.
Old
You
age?
heard of Sting, right?
From the Police?
Yeah,
Yeah.
whatever. I hate Sting.
I know who Sting is, yes.
Yes. You know what he is doing today? Signing a contract to sell the rights to all of his music for $2.5 million.
Sounds like he's getting the raw end of that deal, but McCartney did that. He sold his rights to Michael Jackson, if you'll remember right.
Right, and the deal is though, every time that song's played, instead of McCartney get it, Michael gets, or of course whoever got it.
Right, and whoever Sting sells his rights to, they're going to get the royalties from it. So,
Right.
I mean, is there, not to sound silly and stupid, although I've been doing that a lot lately, is there a point for him doing that? Is there a reason behind it?
Well, up front he gets money in. Let's say you buy it off him,
Mm-hmm.
you get royalties every time that song's played on the radio, Sirius, every time it's played on a jukebox. Well, there's no jukeboxes, but anytime that song played someplace, you get a royalty. I have last one coming up this Thursday. I think it's this Thursday, Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
There is a gentleman that I like the song, and he gets a ton of royalties that day. Anybody want to guess?
On Thanksgiving?
Yeah.
Can I phone a friend?
Alice's Restaurant by Arlo Guthrie.
Oh, by Arlo Guthrie, yeah.
Yeah. When they went, you can get everything except in Alice at Alice's Restaurant.
Okay, I've been pointed out that Michael Jackson bought the Beatles catalog. Paul lost out on the bidding, so I misunderstood how that went.
Same difference, though.
But I believe McCartney bought it back at some point in time. At least I thought I read that.
I think, I'm not sure, but I'm going to say I think you're right, because I think after Michael, his parents sold it.
Yeah. Yeah, Alice's Restaurant, that's been around for a long time, and I can actually listen to that song over and over again.
But it's very popular on Thanksgiving.
Well, yeah. What is it? 3 Thanksgivings ago, that was on Thanksgiving Day. I mean, I can't remember it word for word, but the whole. I almost slipped on that. The whole story is hilarious. I mean,
I like the part about the veterans thing.
Well, I like the part too that we figured rather than bring that trash up, we throw our trash down. And that's what we did. We threw our trash down. We went back to the restaurant. We had a Thanksgiving feast that couldn't be beat. Went to sleep the next morning until Oscar will be knocked on the door. Remember?
Yeah.
Get a violation.
Just looking at the lyrics here, I Googled it, and there's a very long set of lyrics to that.
Oh, yeah.
That's a 19-minute song.
Yeah. And that's if you don't catch the live version where he goes on for like an hour. I mean, it's good. Let's see.
But now, see, he gets royalties.
Yeah, but do you know how much? I mean, not, again, because I don't know. How much does he get, do you think?
I think it's like right now with EMI, it's 4 cents, and with one other, it's 5.
That money adds up.
Exactly. But remember, that's each radio station.
Wow.
So I got a radio station here. You got one there. Jeff's got one.
Makes you almost want to break the guitar out and try to get a one-hit wonder.
Exactly. Well, we had one guy here. I don't remember his name, but he died recently. But ended up every year he was getting like $5,000 or $6,000 from one song.
Wow.
But again, you either think that's a lot or not much, but remember, that's all over the world that it's getting played.
I wonder, you mentioned something, I don't mean to interrupt you, but you mentioned something that is interesting. The jukebox.
Yeah.
How would they get royalties off of that? Would the people that own the restaurant have to pay them up front something to play their...
Theoretically, I mean, it's just like DJs at weddings. They're supposed to pay too. Do they? Never. But if you've ever worked at a radio station, each song you play, you keep track of, literally. Once a month, you send them a royalty for each one.
Yeah, we got up there and found the garbage in there, and we decided it'd be a friendly gesture for us to take the garbage down to the city dump, so we took a half a ton of garbage in the back of the red V8 microbus. God, that brings back some memories. And
For 1 week, I always wanted one of those buses, but I never got one.
Yeah, the Vietnam, when he's in jail, what's you in for? That's pretty funny.
Yeah, I like that. That's the part I like. Littering.
Littering. And they all started moving away until I said, and causing a public nuisance. They all started moving back.
And we talked about father rape and mother rape.
Yeah. Yeah, there is an awful lot of lyrics to that. You're right, Jeff.
Yeah, well, I knew the name of the song. I really didn't remember much about it, and then I Googled it and saw that. And
Have you ever, I mean, I've listened to it enough, but the kids, this piece of paper's got 47 words, 37 sentences, 50. Have you ever listened to how fast he actually gets saying that?
No, I mean, yeah.
Oh my goodness. There's no way. He's got
Now,
sergeant spelled wrong. I wonder if that was done intentionally.
Do you know whose kid he is?
Arlo Guthrie?
Yeah.
If I sat here and thought about it long enough, I could tell you, but tell me.
Woody Guthrie, one of the important people of the early 1930s, 40s.
Ken, has the live stream started yet? No, Blackwatch. It's scheduled to start here in 15 minutes. It will be going live.
Especially because you can hear what we're doing.
now, Woody got one of those guys had some kind of a degenerative disease, right?
Woody and his two kids did not have it.
Okay.
But yeah, you're right. I think it was Hodgkin's. I can't say the word, but it starts with an H. Hodgkin's disease, I think.
I can't talk and text. That's
It was
crazy.
a brain disease of some type. One of those. He died from Huntington's disease. It says here on Wikipedia.
I believe you. Yeah, and he did.
And two daughters also died of it. Don't know.
Is it hereditary?
Yeah, big time.
Wow.
Yeah.
If you got it, your kids are just about guaranteed to get it. Not that his did.
Two daughters, it said he died of it. See if Arlo.
I think Arlo's passed.
Okay, Arlo's my age.
Yeah, I mean.
He's still going, so.
How old's Sting? He's got to be late 60s, early 70s.
Probably 70. I mean, round figure.
I think McCartney's in his early 80s, I believe.
No, oldest one is Ringo, 80.
Really?
That I'm 90% sure of.
Paul McCartney is 79.
Okay.
Says here.
How old's Ringo?
That. Let me Google quick.
Google Sting when you get done with Ringo. Or Richard Starkey, as he's known to other people.
Ringo's 81.
I
think he's the oldest.
Sting is 70.
Only 70? I thought he'd be older than that.
Just turned 70. Born October 1951. He's going to be playing here at Caesars sometime soon.
Is he open to residency or just going to?
I think he's going to have a residency.
Okay, here's one open for the group.
All three of us.
Is Elton John broke or what's the deal?
Oh, have you seen those dumb commercials?
Yeah, and I don't understand them.
Don't have a clue.
Because I had that same exact thought was, what is going on with all these references to I'm broke?
Yeah, he's with that other guy, the African-American guy.
Yeah.
He tries to borrow a shilling. Or
yeah.
A penny or a dollar.
I hope it's tongue-in-cheek comedy or attempt at comedy. I really do.
I read someplace that he was worth 400 million.
Yeah, he's my age, 74. So.
Yeah, he's older. I mean, clearly, but doesn't he have a residency in Vegas?
Who? Elton?
Elton, yeah.
I think he had one.
I thought he still did. I'm just wondering if Britney Spears.
Well, when I Google him, I'm getting tickets available for Chicago, New York, Nashville,
he's still
Atlanta.
Touring,
so he's touring.
Yeah.
Who, Elton?
Yeah.
Wonder how much assistance he gets because, I mean, I wouldn't know. I'm not in my 70s yet, but I just wonder how much the voice deteriorates over your aging process. And then I wonder if he gets any assistance when he's performing.
I don't know. I think that's probably dependent a lot on your health and heredity and whatever. Gosh, I'm having a senior moment here. There was
go ahead.
saw an ad for a famous singer, and last year, I'm trying to think of the guy. He's relatively old, in his late 80s, I think now, but he performed a concert with Lady Gaga.
Tony Bennett.
Tony Bennett.
Tony Bennett, yeah.
Actually, he's in his mid-90s, I think. Isn't he?
Yeah, I'm
Is
thinking I think he's more, yeah.
Yeah.
Do a Google search.
You're probably
for it.
right.
Yeah, because I remember I was thinking, wow, he's still performing, and
He's 95.
Yeah, that's well, the guy that does the announcements on Jeopardy,
Yep.
Johnny, what's his last name? Oh, geez. Anyway, he's 95, and
Huh.
he has no. He has no intention.
Okay, Tony Bennett, Lady Gaga announced second collaborative album. Maybe stuff they've recorded earlier and they're just releasing another album. I don't know. I think Tony Bennett is finally about to retire. I think I saw something.
I'm sorry.
Google Betty White and see what she's up to these days.
Oh,
I
God.
think she's 99 or 100 years old now.
Yeah.
She's ancient. So,
Betty White, 99.
yeah, I thought so. So Tony Bennett and Lady Gaga, if I remember right, they did a Christmas song, "The Baby It's Cold Outside." You remember that? You remember the controversy over that song?
No.
Why? What was the controversy?
It's a sexist song. The man is, which he may or may not be trying to entice her to stay to do whatever, but I think it was a year ago, maybe 2 years ago. That was, everybody was like, "That's such a racist song. He's gonna rape her," and then I'm like, oh my God, people! It's a Christmas carol that's been around now for a very long time.
Yeah.
It's just
Okay, I gotta make a joke. Tony Bennett, his age, could not rape. That was bad. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Black Watch just said Elton's voice deteriorate. Yeah, it would be because I happen to be an Elton John fan from when I was a teenager, and man, he had some damn good music when he was younger. And then I think about Nikita, I believe, might have been when
Russian.
it just started going downhill, which is true of every group anyway. The Lion King stuff was pretty good. Yeah, I liked the video from Nikita. I thought that was pretty good. I mean, here he's lusting over a woman and he's a homosexual man. I just kind of thought that was humorous.
I think he's been married 3 times.
Well, to men or women?
No, Kiki D, which is a woman.
Were they really married, though? Were they actually legally married?
Legally, yes. Were they married, wink, wink, nudge, nudge?
Right, that's... Because I had heard they were married, but they never legally got married.
Well, Rock Hudson was married.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was a facade.
Doris Day got married.
I'm laughing at Black Watch.
Well, that's funny.
He
That's all
put
right.
it,
I was
if
laughing when
you're
I
watching the chat, he said, "God save the Queen." Get it? No, please explain. I'm a naive boy that grew up on a farm in Indiana. I have no clue what you're talking about.
Didn't you ever go out and watch ponies?
Oh, mercy. I'm surprised Robert's not here. I think he was off tonight.
Alex left.
Yeah, they got a big family thing planned. He said he'd be back on his tablet. So, we had a really good, interesting conversation. His head's in the right place, I will tell you that.
Well, I hope he finds something.
We do
I
too.
think he seems like a pretty capable young fellow, and I hope his situation doesn't keep him from getting a decent job.
Yeah, that's...
Well, just change what we just said. I don't personally care. Listen to how I'm saying it. That he gets a decent job. just think he needs to get out and not even get out, but do something on his own type of thing. If you understand what I'm saying.
Sure,
Yeah.
but his disability and depending on, I haven't asked him yet, and I'm not sure I'm going to, but that might be a big hindrance. I did suspect, maybe I should stop the stream, but I can't restart it, so I'll take a chance on this. I do suspect his mom is quite involved in his life, because I know earlier before you guys joined, she was in the room, he kept glancing over as kind of to get approval to say something. And I could have misread what he was doing, but that's just what it looked like. And you could hear her.
I'll be quick. You don't know how much help he really does need, though.
Sure. No, we don't. I mean,
No.
you can see his thing on his bed where he pulls himself up. And then, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but in the right-hand corner, there's a stand-up thing for there. Plus, he's in a motorized wheelchair.
Right,
He's
who
got
was
a
it,
hell of a lot of respect for me, because he could go out and just and play I've got a disability card. I want everything done for me. And he's not doing that, or at least he gives the impression he's not.
He's probably on Medicaid and.
Yeah, who was it that was made some of the parts for his chair?
Tim Soul.
Ken, what's that?
Tim Soul out of Fresno.
Oh, Tim. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, the photographer guy.
Yeah.
Right.
Shooting planes.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I think, didn't he say it was like a $30,000 wheelchair?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Easily.
Yeah.
Easily.
But what I was thinking, and just tell Jeff so we all know what I was thinking, is if you've listened to Doug before, right?
Yes.
Doug Betts?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Well, anyway.
Hey Gary, hold on. I'm going to Blackwatch. I'm in the stream. If you want to join us. But we're gonna take this off the internet on the live stream. Thanks everybody. See everybody tomorrow. If it ends in a Y, I'll be streaming.